What is up, my loves? It's your girl Diamond, and I'm back with my own new review of Love and Marriage Detroit. This episode was boring. I'm telling you, like nothing happened. Majority of what took place this episode all happened on one location, and it was a bunch of repeated conversations and forced issues that I'm just over it at this point. So we're gonna get into it. This is the time that they're gonna go on the staycation with Christina at the Siren Hotel. She wants everyone to be on their best behavior. This is a paid collaboration. She wants no drama. She wants everyone to move forward. So with the couples arriving, hearing that we're supposed to be here for good times, good vibes, Latoya ruins the moment by saying, oh, we're going to be good as long as Chelsea isn't here. Latoya, you and your husband present yourselves to be so high and mighty because you got a doctor to your name. Girl, the way you want to act like you're so above everything, you are so bothered and pressed over Chelsea. And when I mean pressed, I mean pressed. When someone who hasn't done shit to you and the capacity you are creating these issues is just mind-boggling to me. But they're going to move on from there, get ready for dinner. Kim and Marcel going to be late. Anthony and Latoya are getting on my fucking nerves. They want to act like they are above all the mess. They want to point out mess, but act like they don't want to be in mess. But your husband is constantly creating mess, and you're just his beard, going along with the mess, adding your 2 cents in, being high and mighty, elitist and classist, over a situation that wasn't even that fucking deep. Brandon knows that Toya got some issues with Chelsea being at the podcast, and as well as Toya feeling some type of way about Anthony telling her that Brandon took shots at her, or took shots at her wine, but essentially shots at her. Because he was picking it back off of Anthony flexing on dropping money on her, and all he said was add more money to it and fix those 30 corks. Kim and Marcel finally make it to the hotel. They had a rough day. Their car wouldn't start because it was freezing outside. Their son had to go to the doctors because he has respiratory issues. Anthony can't wait to get to dinner so he can call out Brandon for bringing Chelsea to his podcast. And Anthony is making it a bigger deal than what it is, because to say she was so unprofessional because she said one thing throughout the interview. She wasn't talking the entire time. She wasn't making comments throughout the entire time. She didn't say nothing until the end of the interview where y'all were just sitting around talking. But whatever. The whole play about you'll burn the whole house down. Boy, nobody is messing with your gangster. Nobody is questioning your gangster. Nobody is knocking down your hustle. Nobody is doing anything to you. But you want to present yourself as you're somebody we're supposed to be in fear of. You and your wife. Fuck y'all. They all make it to dinner. Christina thought it would be funny that all the men wear the same green sweater, because it was a very weird coincidence that Brandon and Bravo wore the same gray sweater one night at dinner. That was cool. Russell asked, how did the podcast go? Anthony took over the conversation to say it was nice, it was cool. Christina did her thing, but it kind of went left because Brandon decided to come in with his friend, meaning Chelsea. He is being immature to not say her name, which I find childish of somebody who wants to be a leader, who wants to be about his business, but yet you can't say somebody's name. You're that petty and childish? Okay. He even starts to smile when he wants to say Brandon took shots at Latoya. Are you happy he took shots at Latoya? Because who smiles when someone takes a shot at their wife? Again, weird. Anthony is painted bigger than what it was. Brandon did not come out and shade Latoya out of nowhere. It was Anthony who started when he wanted to say that Christina was Brandon's biggest artist. Even though I don't know who came out of Star Factory that had become successful. So who is Anthony to say that Brandon has not had successful artists come in his business? So that's when Brandon took to shade Latoya over Anthony flexing about how much money he spent on her, because that seems to be the only thing that Anthony can do is flex on how much money he spent, when I think it's not even his money, it's Latoya's money. Latoya, for you always overlook how your husband starts a lot of shit and you blame everybody else for his reactions. You blame everybody else for what they said and not hold your husband accountable because he starts shit. So Brandon stood 10 toes down on what he said. He meant what he said, because for him to not address Chelsea when she walked into the building was immature and unprofessional. But my thing is, why is Chelsea the biggest conversation right now? Why are y'all making Chelsea bigger than what she is? When I say that, I mean for somebody who y'all look down upon, y'all sure lift her up like she's the most important person in the world. And if you don't want to mention her name, but yet you're mentioning how she comes across, you're mentioning how she's supposed to be in these streets, how she acts, you're creating an issue that you want her to react to. And I'm getting tired of Latoya and her elitist and classist attitude to say that while Christina knew the issue between her and her husband, you still brought her into an environment that she was unprofessional and it was giving ghetto. What is your definition of ghetto, Latoya? Somebody who just came in, did their job, and didn't say nothing? Or somebody who called out how your husband was doing the fucking most and you couldn't handle it? And let me add this, Latoya. You want to say somebody was ghetto, but do you see how your husband have acted throughout this entire time being on this show? He's created issues. He has been gaslighting. He's done the absolute most. But yet, you don't want to say he's ghetto. The fuck you talking about? And as far as them trying to paint Chelsea out to be this unprofessional person, Christina defended her as she should by saying, I felt like Anthony was taking shots because he did not greet her. And that is taking shots. Anytime you don't want to mention somebody, but you want to constantly mention how they've done this and done this, you're taking jabs. Anything you did was concerning Chelsea without you saying her name. Christina and Brandon both agreed that Anthony was being super dismissive towards Chelsea for no reason. So as far as you want to call her unprofessional, he's unprofessional. He's been unprofessional. Kobe now wants to chime in because she got her beef with Chelsea, which her beef is no beef, by saying, do you think that as your brand manager that she misrepresented herself? Christine defended by saying, well, no. Do I think she has spicy conversations with the people in this group? Yes. But I have not seen her act provoked. I have not seen her been provoking to other people. And then Latoya want to add in Detroit. Who says she's been disrespectful in Detroit, Latoya? Who has said that she has misrepresented herself in Detroit? See, there you go again. Throwing out that you got ears in the streets of learning how a person has been, but don't give off sources. You still have not proven any receipts that Chelsea has been talking bad about your business. And how come Chelsea, who you claim is a nobody in the way you're describing her, has had so much power to talk about your business? Have your business has been affected by what Chelsea has said, but you have not provided any receipts about what she has said. So for you to say she acted so unprofessional to an event you weren't even there to see, because you're only going off of how your husband have made it so colorful of what she has said, how she have acted, you're going to believe him anyway and not see for yourself. She really didn't do nothing wrong. It was your husband that was doing way too much to remove her from a situation she wasn't really doing anything. Trying to flex about, I can call security and remove her. The fuck? And then this whole thing about having an agreement that we're not supposed to have ops in our presence. We agreed to not have ops. When have you brought Light Week around, Anthony, other than the one time last season? So you can miss me with we're not bringing ops around. How is Chelsea an ops to you? She ain't coming after you. She don't want anything from you. She doesn't care about you. You are thinking way too highly of yourself to think that someone is constantly coming after you. Both you and Latoya. I don't like how y'all are painting Chelsea to be this ratchet type of girl who's always looking for a problem when Anthony and Latoya look in the mirror right now. The whole time they're trying to convince Christina that her friend is not her friend because of the way she's acting and the way people have said how she's been acting. Who are these people besides you and Kobe? Latoya, who are these people? Y'all putting 20 on 10 to try to convince her she's not a good person. So Christina does what she does, which is defend her. Kobe, take a back seat because you played the pregnancy card when you jumped in the conversation, had nothing to do with you. Now, Kimberly want to chime in and say that's what the disconnect between her and Christina is, because you don't like it when someone is telling you about somebody else's characteristics because you believe that they don't have it. When someone can have those types of characteristics, then it applies to everybody, Kimberly. Everybody can have a out of character moment where they have acted in ways they're not used to acting. Not just Chelsea. And to me, I have not seen Chelsea act out in the way you guys are painting her out to be. So Christina takes accountability with telling Anthony, I never thought it would be an issue for her coming because it's about business. It wasn't intentional. I brought her there for me and my business. Maybe I should have reached out to you and let you know if it was okay. So for that, my apologies to you. But then in a confessional, she said, I can see that my friends are not cool with my friend, and that's fine. I'm not going to disregard their feelings, but I'm going to ride for my friend. So with Christina, giving them the space that they have an understanding of how they might have had a bad experience with Chelsea, I'm not going to change my mind about my friend. If my friend has never shown me that, I'm not disagreeing that you guys have seen that. But don't convince me that my friend is not a good person because she's giving y'all a bad experience. But Christina also told Anthony, as somebody who wants to present himself to be a leader of this community, leaders don't match energy. If you think my friend Chelsea was in the wrong, you don't have to meet her at that energy. You shut it down and end the conversation, in the situation that can be well off where you guys are both moving on. Where you're not coming at her foul, you're not calling out of her name, she's not doing the same thing to you. That's how you de-escalate a situation. But of course, typical Anthony, he's not holding himself accountable to think that he needs to change his ways when it comes to getting into a confrontation with a woman. LaToya, going along with using big words and big phrases. Sometimes people don't deserve grace, even then when you give it. It's fuck to the both of y'all. To say that Christina knows her friend likes to push his buttons. Oh, the same way your husband like to push other people's buttons, but you don't say shit for some reason. I want someone can help me wrap my mind around this. Why are y'all so quick to point out somebody else's lack of accountability when the main people who don't hold themselves accountable is LaToya and Anthony? So then it moves on to them having a conversation about marriage. Russell opens up with, as men, we don't admit that it gets hard when it comes to being a family man, being a husband, and being a provider. And I think that Russell is really battling with having to be the financial provider for his family. He retired Kobe early, like he wants to brag about, and now he's about to be a father of 2 girls. Having children is expensive, and now he's the owner of a business. He also works in other areas, so he is concerned about being able to do it all. Colby comes in to discuss, as a wife, we're doing more than just submitting. We have to also be able to tell our husbands, you don't have to do it all by yourself. We can be your support. But we have to be graceful in asking for the support as well as giving you the support. But I feel like Colby just wants to be included in those conversations and not just be succumb to just being a wife and a mother. To be a partner, she wants to be able to give her thoughts and give her opinions without having to be shut down, and Russell do it all by himself. Kim and Marcel have had the same conversations. They're both having strong type personalities, and they both like to do things a different way. She says, I'm not the type of woman who just allows her husband to say what he needs to say and not say, okay, dear. Marcel says, I wouldn't have married you if you were that type of woman. I want you to express your thoughts. I value your opinion. Brandon took over the conversation to say he's had the struggle of what it means to be the leader. We know the history between Brandon and Christina. They dated while married because they did not know each other. We know that Brandon rushed the process of getting married to Christina because of her values of waiting to have sex to be married. And instead of him understanding and waiting for that moment, he rushed it. So they had to literally learn each other throughout being married versus learning each other before they got married. And it's been a roller coaster. We know Brandon has asked for a divorce 4 times. This last time where he had to reevaluate his life, reevaluate what he wanted, get right with God. Even though there were times where Christina wouldn't give him the spot to lead, he had to learn how to lead. And now they have been moving forward in their marriage. They're all giving kudos to Brandon being honest about how he felt. And Christina was crying, and to see him open up about their issues they've had over the years, it's a whole bunch of different emotions coming together. But for me, I feel like either it's awakening that you've gone through this with this man. I mean, him asking for a divorce 4 times is an issue for me. Because I felt like Brandon just wanted to be able to do what he wanted to do without someone questioning him, without someone telling him he needed to change, because Brandon doesn't want to change. Hence why it was giving him credit. He'd been consistent at this point in trying again for their marriage. So I don't know if Christina was feeling like it's hope, or it's like, damn, I have gone through this time and time again to be right for this man, but I don't know if he really wanted to be right for me. I mean, I feel like they're not together now. I mean, throughout this time, maybe they was getting a good old college try, but I don't know if it lasted. But this is the reason why she wanted to have this trip, so they can show love and care for one another, relate to one another, and have each other's backs. Cool. That's all it was. Now it's time for Kobe's baby sprinkle. Christina had all the ladies wear fake baby bumps so that Kobe doesn't feel alone, because she is the only one that's pregnant and not enjoying being pregnant. Kim is helping her. They have a bit of a small talk. And of course, it reminds Kim of their fun times while being friends, because their friendship wasn't all drama. Excuse me. So last night was a sign of growth and maturity in their conversations, because there have been multiple times before where they've had altercations and arguments, and it was a sign that they will never move forward. I will never be friends with her again. I will never want to be around her again, but now it's different. Kim is talking about you can't tell someone how to react once you say certain things, because now she's switching her tune with looking back on how everything transpired with the Chelsea conversation, because she wasn't sure about what else has transpired with Chelsea, Kobe, LaToya, and Anthony. Because she said, I have not seen Chelsea acting that way like you have. So Christina wants to give kudos to Kim. Christina wants to give kudos to Kim on not jumping on the bandwagon with LaToya and Kobe over the type of person that they think Chelsea is. But to be honest though, Christina, she did when she told you you're not listening when someone is telling you how somebody has acted. But for me though, Kim, if you know for a fact that you have not seen Chelsea acting that way, it wouldn't have been an issue for you to admit it. You could have just said, well, I understand y'all might have had a bad experience with Chelsea, but I've known her as well as Christina has known her, and she's never acted that way with any of the friends we have together, any of the events that we've had. I've not seen that side. I'm not disregarding y'all feelings, but I have not seen it. Like, it wouldn't have been a problem. But you want to follow behind them because they still want to blame Christina about where they're at in their friendship. Whatever. But basically, not everybody is someone's cup of tea. You can have a bad experience. You can have a misunderstanding. But it's up to that person to recognize when it came to be a misunderstanding. And I feel like Chelsea has recognized where it's been a misunderstanding. But Kobe, LaToya, and Anthony don't want to look upon themselves and look at how they reacted in regards to having a bad experience with Chelsea. It's not just Chelsea that's causing problems. It's them egging on to create an issue and then say it's all her. That's the part I'm just done. So she said, Chelsea's my girl. I'm going to have her back regardless. She has never switched up on me. She was there for my shower that you threw for me. Kim had to take us back down memory lane to say, yeah, the one that I threw for you that you were 2 hours late for. Okay, they came to a conclusion. She was an hour late. Kim let it go. So now Kim wants to use this as an opportunity to see if her and Christina can move forward. Of course, they're not going to be how they used to be, but it takes baby steps. I'm tired of having this conversation, Kim. Either you want to move forward with Christina or you don't. I'm tired of you using all of these moments to test the waters if y'all can go back to how it used to be. It won't happen. Y'all going to have to accept what took place, move forward, create some boundaries, and have a different way of resolving confrontations, resolving issues that are not going to be built up over time, and wait until you have a moment and bring it up and have a big explosion over something so fucking small. That's what I don't want. I'm tired of it. Tired of it, tired of it, tired of it. Kobe walks in on all of them wearing baby bumps. She feels uplifted, and then they all want to make a cute jar for her so she can look at phrases or words so she can feel supported and lifted throughout this time of being pregnant. Then we get to the same conversation they've been having all this time, going through motherhood. Mom guilt is real. You think you don't know what you're doing. You think you're not doing it right. You want your kids to be proud of you. You're filled with anxiety, blah, blah, blah. So Then they go on about mom guilt, okay? Having the repeated conversations about motherhood, thinking that they're not doing enough, okay? They're not showing up, they're not supporting, they're not caring. You guys are doing what you're supposed to be doing. It's up to you to make sure that you're balancing being there for your kids, but also making time for yourself. That's it, that's all. Kobe expresses on how she wishes she could be the fun parent, not the disciplinarian. The same thing that Latoya has been complaining about. I'm done with y'all. It is what it is. Y'all gonna have to be the one to showcase that sense of authority more than the fathers. Take it or leave it. So Kobe appreciates the ladies putting the effort into making her feel happy and seen. And she's very happy that Kim and Christina have come together. It makes her feel happy that they're moving forward. So the men, Russell thought it was a great idea for all the men to run in 30-degree weather. But he can't be involved in it because he had to go to work. I would not have done the run. And it looked like y'all wasn't even running. It was like a slight jog that y'all were doing. So Anthony brings up dinner and how dinner was great, dinner was cool, but then he's happy that Bravo actually spoke the truth and there was no Bravo and Brandon dick riding. So out of left field. Where did that come from? Again, weird as hell. So with the comment that he made was so out of left field. He said, you know, it's all love, man. You know how I talk. Listen, there are shit talkers in a group of friends, but the way you shit talk is weird. I don't know how anybody can ever find the way you talk shit is funny. And also, these were supposed to be your friends, right? You love them, you support them, you want them to do well, but yet you talk mad shit about them. What type of friend is that? That's a backstabber type of friend. That's a Judas, okay? And you want to call Bravo and Brandon dick riders? Baby, you've been the biggest dick rider of them all. So the fellas came back from running. They didn't want to bother their wives. And this goes to show you these men have nothing to talk about. They have no value to speak on anything. So Anthony creates another moment to say how I love the dinner. It was good. We had great conversations about business. And I give my boy Bravo props for telling the truth and not being a dick rider again. How can something like this so casually come out of your mouth? Because I don't know not one man who can find it comfortable being next to another man, calling him a dick rider and not get his ass beat. I'm just saying, because that's super fucking weird. And I don't know if Bravo and Brandon are not really trying to give Anthony that type of attention because it's not worth it, or I don't know. Like, why y'all give him so many passes to be so disrespectful like this? This is why he thinks he can say what he wants to say and not get reprimanded. Like, he likes being the goofy dumbass in the group. And for Brandon, he said, I don't know why this man is obsessed with using this type of term, because the only person who always brings up somebody being a dick rider is the one obsessed for thinking it. And Anthony feels a way about witnessing how Bravo defends Brandon, because in his mind, he thinks that Anthony doesn't care if he doesn't get defended, but Brandon is sensitive, so I need to defend him more. And Brandon's like, when has that been the case? Bravo has been neutral in mostly everything. So Anthony wants to still be a bitch and asks Brandon, is he offended? No, I'm not offended, but I'm not going to respond to that, or that childish term. I'm not going to respond to that. And it definitely shows to me that Anthony is definitely jealous of the friendship between Bravo and Brandon, because he doesn't know how to be in a real friendship. Because in his mind, a friendship means you're going along with everything I say and do, and you don't call me out on it. He wants that type of bro code mentality. But that's not how this works, Anthony. So in the confessional, Brandon defends the fact that the way we show up for one another, we don't have to explain it. He doesn't defend me as often as you think he does. He calls me out, I receive it, and we move forward. That's what friends do. Friends be there for one another, friends support one another, and friends also have disagreements, but we work towards it. But you want to call it dick riding because I'm holding myself accountable of the things that I've done wrong, and that's something that you have a hard time doing. Because Bravo says you're not comprehending the rationalization you're thinking of. Because if you think that I'm doing a lot of dick riding, then that means that you want me to defend you when you're in the wrong, because you want to say you're always right, and that's not cool. Like, that's what it gets given. Because for you to be mad that Brandon gets defended more than you, it's because there are things that Brandon has taken accountability on and have been trying to be better at, and you have not done any of that. For you to be in your feelings and whine about how Bravo don't defend you, it's because what have you done that needed defending? Nothing. You really want someone to defend your bullshit when you do shit. And when I am in the space where I'm like, well, that's something that I can defend, you want to say I'm dick riding somebody else because I choose to not defend you over this person. Well, because this person is willing to be accountable, then you are. Like, that's so weird that Anthony has come up with this weird type of issue with Bravo because he is mad that he doesn't get defended as much. Well, you do shit that's very hard to defend, Anthony. Brandon hasn't done half the shit that you've done, and Brandon has done some shit, don't get me wrong. But the way he's being able to be held accountable versus you who don't want to be held accountable, it's kind of hard to defend you. But that was pretty much the end. I don't have nothing else because it don't make no sense how Anthony can have this issue with Bravo when Bravo didn't do anything to him. But y'all wrap this shit up and then find out that next week is the season finale. It's 10 episodes, possibly, I hope, a one-part reunion because nothing was done this season. Cut the season in half, thinking that we're going to get more episodes, there's going to be more things happening, and we get this. A very lackluster, very boring season. I was on the lookout for this show because this show does not give. This show does not entertain us. This show gives us a headache. And y'all, that's it. I'm done. Please stay tuned for my next video, and I'm going to see you guys later. Bye.